Hi, I'm Kazuki. I'm a polyglot that speaks 7 languages, and today I will tell you guys how you can learn Portuguese easily if you speak a Romance language. So, if you speak a Romance language, it's more easy to learn another Romance language because you you will know the patterns and the similarities of the vocabulary in the language, but you need to know the pronunciation and the pattern that the language the other Romance language have and in the language. So first, when you're gonna learn Portuguese, well, we have Brazilian Portuguese and Portugal Portuguese. It's a little bit different, but today I will teach you guys the something that you should know in Portuguese, in any Portuguese language. It doesn't matter if it's a Brazilian Portuguese or Portugal Portuguese. So the first thing you should know is the pronunciation of the words. Yes, and for example, like um, if you are learning Brazilian Portuguese, you should know that the Brazilian Portuguese also have a lot of diversity in the accent, but the São Paulo accent, that is the one of the most popular accents in Brazilian Portuguese. The O in the end of the vocabulary sounds like a U. So like the words like so the words is carro. You can see that ends with O, but we say U. Carro, livro. This one also ends with O, but we say U, livro. Gato. These are some of the examples that Portuguese sometimes we write in one way and we pronounce in another way. But Portugal Portuguese and Brazilian Portuguese they end the O in the end of the word. The both ends pronounced with a U sound, but it's a little bit different. Yeah. Normally, when you speak a Romance language, you have a sound of the R that normally in Italian and Spanish, and I think also in Romanian, is pronounced like a rolling R. In Asian Portuguese, it was the same, but the modern Portuguese we pronounce like a H, the R in the R in the front of the sentence, in the front of the word, we pronounce like a H, and a double R in the middle of the sentence we also pronounce like a H. It sounds like a H in English and J or G in the Spanish. And also we have the E that in Portuguese, in the end of the word in Brazilian Portuguese, you might hear they pronounce like a I, like a E sound. And in Portugal Portuguese is the the E sound is different in Brazilian Portuguese. So this is one of the examples that you should know. And also you should know the pattern of the words with genders. If you speak a Romance language, you know that all the Romance languages have genders. Most of them, they only have masculine and feminine. But in the language such as Romanian, you also have the neutral gender. But how you should know which word is masculine and which word is feminine? Well, words that end with O and other words that end not just with the O, such as the words that end with the O or words that end with the E or L, is masculine. Not all of them, but most of them. And words that end with A is feminine, except the words that are from Greek, such as idioma, problema, and planeta. These three words are masculine because they are from Greek. So when you be confused if the word is feminine or is not, just search the origin of the word in Portuguese. Another thing you should learn is the pronouns in Portuguese, such as eu, tu, ele, nós, vós, and eles. Well, if you speak a Romance language, you know which pronoun we using in Portuguese. And you also should know the pattern of the conjugation in Portuguese. Well, if you speak a Romance language, you know that the conjugation in the Romance language have a pattern. And if you learn the pattern, most the pattern are very similar in the main spoken Romance language. So it shouldn't be very hard to learn it. And well, other thing you should know is the words in Latin, how they became words in Portuguese. Because if you know the transformation, the words in Latin through Portuguese, it's gonna be more easy. So when you gonna speak Portuguese and you don't know the vocabulary, but you know that it's very similar with your language, you know how the pattern is gonna be in Portuguese. Such as in Portuguese, most words that have a C in the middle of the sentence, the C disappear. Like in Spanish, we have the word acción, that in Portuguese we just say ação. And in Latin, we have the word factum, that in Spanish we pronounce like facto. And like as I said, the C disappeared in Portuguese, we pronounce like a facto. Except in Portuguese, they still pronounce like facto, but other words that have the C in the middle of the sentence, the C disappear. So if you search the pattern of the Latin word how they became Portuguese words, it's gonna be more easy to understand and not to be confused when you're gonna speak Portuguese. Because if you speak Spanish or Italian, you might think that a word might pronounce the same sometimes, but it's not the same. And sometimes you know that it's similar, but you don't remember how the form is. Well, if you search the pattern, how the Latin word became Portuguese, it's going to be more easy for you. And when you know all that, you can try to speak Portuguese. And I think it's going to be more easy to understand and to learn the language. And this is all for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna put my Discord and my Gmail on the description. If you want to contact me to learn language, any language that I speak, I can teach you. And I see you guys in the next video.